Why do some people avoid social life? Why do they prefer solitude when everyone else seems to seek company? We are constantly told that happiness comes from human relationships, going out, interacting, and belonging to a group. But Schopenhauer saw things differently. Before I reveal the rest of this reflection, subscribe, because what comes next will change everything. Intelligence leads to solitude. Schopenhauer claims brilliant minds often end up alone, and it's no coincidence. They don't need as much external stimulation. They find little interest in superficial discussions. Schopenhauer compares society to a masquerade, a game where everyone hides their true thoughts, where appearance matters more than sincerity. Lucid minds don't play that game. So, they withdraw, not out of rejection, not out of contempt, but because thinking brings them more than talking. And that's not the only problem. Schopenhauer doesn't hold back. Most people, they don't seek the truth. They flee boredom. Conversations are often empty and superficial. Relationships are driven by interest, not sincerity. Conformity suffocates all original thought. The result? Intelligent people get bored in social settings. They prefer books over idle chatter. They find meaning in reflection, not in trivial conversations. But does that mean all social life is useless? Not exactly. Schopenhauer makes a key distinction: endured solitude, forced isolation, social rejection, a suffering; chosen solitude, a privilege, a freedom. The real issue isn't being alone, but understanding why you are alone. The intelligent person doesn't run away from others. They simply avoid what does not nourish their mind. But this solitude can also become a trap. Is solitude a strength or a weakness? Schopenhauer was categorical. The more intelligent you are, the more alone you become. But this solitude is not a curse. It is a choice. It is a need. It is a way to protect oneself from the noise of the world. So, should we escape social life to be happy? Or simply learn to choose with whom to share our time? Schopenhauer also knew one thing: man is a social animal. Even the brightest minds cannot exist outside the world. Even those who seek solitude must face the reality of others. In his writings, Schopenhauer distinguishes two types of solitude: physical solitude and inner solitude. The first is total isolation, distancing from the world. The second is not feeling understood, even when surrounded. And this is where the real problem lies. Intelligent people are not necessarily physically isolated. They can be with family, with friends, in a crowd, and yet feel profoundly alone. Simply because they think differently, because they see things others do not perceive, because they reflect on topics that do not interest the majority. And this inner solitude is the heaviest burden. That's why some geniuses fell into melancholy, like Nietzsche, misunderstood and alone at the end of his life. So, the question remains: should we escape society? Or should we learn to exist in this world without losing ourselves in it? Schopenhauer himself never advocated total isolation. He knew that living completely alone meant cutting oneself off from the world to the point of losing its meaning. For him, an intelligent person must carefully choose their relationships. It is not about avoiding all contact, but about prioritizing quality over quantity. Better one sincere relationship than 100 superficial friendships. Better one conversation that nourishes the mind than 1,000 empty chats. The intelligent person does not seek to be alone. They seek not to surround themselves unnecessarily. However, a problem remains. Today, hyperconnectivity has replaced real human interactions. Everything is faster, louder, and more artificial. Social media gives us the illusion of being connected. But in reality, we have never been so alone. Conversations are instant, but empty. Friendships are numerous, but fragile. We live surrounded by screens, yet we desperately lack authentic relationships. And lucid minds see it. They know that overstimulation brings nothing, that the illusion of connection can feel even emptier than solitude itself. So, was Schopenhauer right? The more intelligent we are, the more we must distance ourselves from this superficial world. Or is there a balance to be found? Maybe the solution lies here, not fleeing society, but learning to filter what is truly worthwhile. Not being alone out of rejection, but by choice. Not seeking absolute solitude, but reserving ourselves for relationships that genuinely enrich life. Because after all, being at peace with oneself is already good company.